Before we begin, viewer discretion is advised. What you're about to hear is more than a music industry story. This is about three women, broke, betrayed, and furious, who stormed a record label, kicked out Diddy mid-meeting, and held Clive Davis hostage. Yes, held him hostage. This isn't fan fiction. This happened. And the ripple effect from that one day changed the way the entire music business treated artists. TLC didn't start this fight, but once they were in it, they finished it. And in the process, they left a trail of silence, scandal, and suspicion that still hasn't been explained, especially when one of them died, just when she was getting too close to the truth. Let's get into it. By the time Crazy Sexy Cool went multi-platinum, TLC was the biggest girl group in the world. Fans saw the glamour, the awards, the success. What they didn't see, the broken down cars, the empty apartments, the royalty checks worth less than a new TV. They were pulling in $75 million, but each member was handed just $50,000. No, that's not a typo. T-Boz, Left Eye, and Chili were global icons. But in real life, they couldn't afford furniture. And that wasn't just mismanagement. That was designed. Their contracts, signed under LaFace and distributed through Clive Davis's Arista Records, were some of the worst in the industry. TLC had been robbed in plain sight. And that's when Left Eye snapped. Lisa. Left Eye Lopes wasn't new to chaos. She'd just gotten out of a diversion program after setting her ex's house on fire. But this time she wasn't angry. She was focused. While locked up, she'd made friends, women, who didn't play. Ex-cons, tough, loyal, down to ride. When Lisa said, "We're going to get our money," they didn't ask questions. They didn't hire lawyers. They didn't call managers. They drove to New York and went straight to Arista Records. Clive Davis was in a meeting. Diddy, then Still, known as Puffy, was in the room with him. But that didn't matter. TLC and their crew stormed in, kicked Diddy out, and told Clive, "We're not leaving until you pay us." They tore through the building, ripping down plaques, grabbing awards, stealing posters with their own faces on them. One woman stood outside Clive's office and blocked the door. No one got in, no one got out. And Diddy? He panicked, called security, called Clive, snitched. "Yo, B, your girls are up here wildin'." Clive had a choice: press charges and make it public, or back down quietly. He chose silence. TLC walked out free, but the message was clear. This wasn't just about money. This was a warning. Arista folded. Renegotiations began. TLC didn't get everything, but they got enough to keep going, and enough to make the label scared. From that day on, Arista turned into a fortress. Metal detectors, sign-in sheets, pat-downs. Even artists had to go through security checks. All because three girls from Atlanta showed up and made it very clear, if we don't get paid, you don't get peace. TLC's reputation shifted overnight. They weren't just a girl group anymore. They were a problem, and no one wanted to be the next label to cross them. Diddy never forgot that day. His meeting hijacked, kicked out in front of Clive Davis. And years later, that moment would come back to haunt him, live on television. During the Grammys, Rosie O'Donnell made a joke on air. Lauryn Hill's got 4 nominations, TLC's got 8, and Sean Puffy Combs has 5 to 10. Get it? Like he's going to jail? The audience laughed, but Chili? She burst out laughing, harder than anyone in the room. The look on her face was unmistakable. She wasn't just amused, she looked vindicated, because that laugh wasn't just about a joke. That laugh said, "I know something the world doesn't," and she did. What most people didn't know at the time was this. Chili used to date Usher, and before Usher was a superstar, he was a teenage singer signed to LaFace, who'd been sent to live with Diddy in New York. Yes, at 14 years old, Usher lived in Diddy's house. Years later, Usher described it as Puffy Flavor Camp. He said it was wild, that he saw things no kid should see, that he didn't even know how to process what he witnessed. There were whispers, rumors of STDs, a mysterious hospitalization, allegations that Kim Porter found disturbing tapes, and now, legal documents refer to an unnamed artist with a Vegas residency and a Super Bowl halftime performance. Who fits Usher's profile exactly? And if Usher told Chili what really happened in that house, then that laugh wasn't random, it was revenge. Because when Chili left Usher, she didn't just walk away from a man. She disappeared from an entire circle. She stopped attending Diddy-affiliated events, never spoke on him publicly, and never looked back. Not out of pettiness, out of self-preservation. But if there was one person in TLC who really scared the industry, it wasn't Chili. It was Lisa Left Eye Lopes. Lisa never made peace with the contracts. Even after the renegotiations, she wanted answers. She wanted receipts. Where was the rest of the $75 million? Who took it? And why? That's when she made her most shocking move yet. Lisa signed with Death Row Records. Yes, that Death Row, Suge Knight's empire, the most feared label in hip-hop. People thought she was reckless, but Lisa was calculated. She wasn't joining Death Row to make music, she was joining to expose the system, and just when she was getting close to the truth, she left the country. Lisa flew to Honduras. She called it a spiritual retreat. She brought a small film crew, said she wanted to explore who she was outside the industry, but something was off. She kept talking about energy, spirits, feeling followed, and then something eerie happened. While driving, Lisa's van accidentally struck a young boy. He didn't survive. His last name? Also Lopes. Lisa was shattered. She told the camera that the spirit meant to take her, not the boy. A few days later, her van crashed again. This time, it took Lisa. She wasn't wearing a seatbelt. Everyone else survived. She died instantly. And just like that, the boldest voice in TLC was gone. The crash was ruled an accident. But the timing, the mystery, the questions, they've never gone away. After Lisa's death, TLC carried on. T-Boz stayed vocal, but Chili, she got quieter. She never did interviews about the Diddy situation, never went on expose tours, but she also never stood next to him again. Not at parties, not on TV, not even in photos. She was there when Usher lived with Diddy. She was there when Lisa threatened Clive Davis. She was there when they found out how bad the contracts were, and she watched it all unfold. That silence, it wasn't passive, it was intentional. Because in the music industry, survival sometimes means saying nothing and staying alive. After the Arista standoff, the industry fell back. No more smear pieces, no fake PR campaigns, no blackballing. TLC had made it clear. If you cross them, they don't call lawyers, they pull up. They weren't just pioneers of girl group success. They were blueprints for how to take power back, even if it meant flipping a label upside down. And it worked, because no one ever tried them again. This wasn't just a story about Platinum Records. It was about what happens when three women refuse to play by the rules. TLC was robbed, lied to, exploited, but they didn't fold. They fought. Left Eye paid the ultimate price. Chili chose silence, and T-Boz kept marching forward. But they all made one thing very clear. You don't mess with TLC, because when they show up, they're not looking for cameras. They're looking for answers. And if you're not ready to give them, you better move out of the way.